Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to Mayor Cantor's State of the Town Address. I'm Chris Conway. I'm the President and CEO of the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce. It's great to see you all here. You should be congratulated on being here today. This event sold out in record time, which means you acted very quickly. Today's event sold out so quickly that it even caught the attention of Taylor Swift. I have on good authority that she was upset with the mayor for upstaging her on ticket sales, and she called her up. In typical mayor fashion, she told her to shake it off. Don't worry, they met up a few days later, and I'm happy to report that there's no bad blood between them. I can't speak for the mayor, but I can promise you I'm finished shoehorning pop music title references into my speech. Seriously, I'm happy to see everyone here from the town of West Hartford and the community, including several representatives from the town. Of course, we have several members of our business community and many of our nonprofit partners in attendance, and we actually have private residents here with us today, so you are all welcome. We have many members of the Chamber of Commerce in attendance, several representatives from the Chamber's board and executive committee. I'd like to ask the members of our board to stand to be recognized. Thank you for your service and your support of the Chamber. I would also like to recognize the Chamber's Director of Program and Development, Kate Cobes, who worked tirelessly on organizing today's event. And in typical Kate fashion, she's sitting in the last row. I would also like to welcome Mayor Cantor and the members of her family. Thank you for being with us today, as always. An event such as this is not possible with the generosity of our sponsors. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, TD Bank, our gold sponsors, Blueback Square, Onyx Elite, People's Bank, Tecton Architects, UHY Advisors, and Westfield Bank. Our silver sponsors, Clifton Larson Allen, Corsi and Company, Hartford Healthcare, and the American School for the Deaf, who have also provided us with today's sign language interpreter. Thank you. Our media sponsors, 2020 Media, AMP Radio Network, and weha.com. These are businesses that are more than logos up on this screen. They're also organizations that work in their own way for a stronger community. We thank them for their support of today's program. In the course of my job as president and CEO of the Chamber, I have the privilege of collaborating with leaders throughout the state and the country. Once people find out that I work in West Hartford, the compliments quickly follow. That's a great town. It's one of my favorite places to go. I love West Hartford. My personal favorite, you have a cheesecake factory. I can't tell you how many times I get that. This type of universal praise doesn't just happen on its own. We have a very special community led by a very passionate mayor. Each year I see Mayor Cantor's presentation as a victory lap for a community that works together toward common goals. I always leave inspired for what the upcoming months and years will have in store for us. On behalf of the West Hartford Chamber, we look forward to supporting that vision and the work required to make our community the best it can be. The Chamber and the town work together in many ways. Together we welcome new businesses to town with ribbon cuttings. We collaborate with the Economic Development Department to bring valuable resources to our business community. The annual holiday stroll is a partnership among the Chamber, Blueback Square, the town, and the Center Business Association. Our members' feedback is actively welcomed at major projects such as the Center Infrastructure Plan, the Wayfinding Initiative, and the Elmwood Community Center. Probably the best embodiment of this partnership is the Why West Hartford website. This was launched 2 years ago as a partnership with the town, the Chamber, and West Hartford Community Interactive, who is also here today. Its purpose was to share all that our town has to offer in an easy-to-navigate way. It was designed to inform residents, visitors, and businesses as to why West Hartford is the place to be. It may be our best-kept secret. We hope to change that today. On your tables are cards with a QR code. I invite you to check out the website, follow our social media, and sign up for our emails so that you can help us share what makes West Hartford such a special place. So I'm going to wrap up. The food seems to be ready, and I'm going to invite the head table to go to the buffet, and then the Pond House staff will direct the rest of you there, and we'll continue our program shortly. Thank you. That's me, in case you didn't know. All right. Okay. Yes, so it's now my pleasure to invite the West Hartford Chamber of Commerce's chairperson, Chip Januszewski, to the podium to say a few words and introduce our presenting sponsor.
Thanks, Chris. Good afternoon. I'm here to introduce Steve Litchfield. Steve joined TD Bank in October 2015 as Regional Vice President of the Greater Hartford market. He has over 30 years of experience in commercial banking in a variety of roles. Steve works with privately held family businesses and public companies to provide them with the services and products needed to support their businesses. Steve is on the Ambassador Advisory Board at the Bushnell Center for Performing Arts, current director and former chair of the Community Campaign with the United Way of Central and Northeast Connecticut, and past president of the Exchange Club of West Hartford. Steve holds a Bachelor of Arts from Colby College and an MBA in Finance and Marketing from Boston College. Steve is a proud resident of West Hartford. Please give a warm welcome to Steve Litchfield.
Thank you, Chip, and good afternoon, everyone. It's great that we're all able to rearrange our schedules and join Shari today, our mayor, in this great program. And thank you also to the staff. Thanks to Chip and to Kate for reorganizing this whole day and for doing everything they do for the chamber. With over 500 members in the chamber, they have a full agenda of programs to support our community, and it's really added a lot of vibrancy and energy to our town. So thank you for all you do. On behalf of TD Bank, we are proud to once again sponsor the Mayor's State of Town Address. There's always a great amount of interest in what our mayor has to say about the achievements, opportunities, and challenges that lie ahead for our town, its businesses, and its residents. As a resident of West Hartford for over 25 years, I too appreciate these updates and this forum. Let me take just a minute to update you on what's happening at TD Bank, really with a focus on two things: our people and our culture. For the second year in a row, our TD employee giving campaign contributed over $4.5 million to the annual campaign. It's a significant amount of money, which all gets returned back into our community to support our not-for-profits and other organizations. In addition, many TD employees volunteer their time in a number of boards and committees throughout the area, including here in West Hartford with the Exchange Club, the American School for the Deaf, and the Children's Museum. In 2022, TD Bank was recognized once again on the Forbes Best Employers for Diversity list, and we were named by Diversity Inc. as a top company for diversity for the 10th year in a row. This is an important recognition for our bank and our people, our most important asset. And just last week, we announced a significant 5-year community benefits plan to provide lending, philanthropy, banking access, and other important activities to help increase economic opportunity and stability, especially in the underserved communities. We will be increasing our mortgage and home improvement lending in LMI areas, increase small business lending to businesses with diverse ownership, invest in affordable housing projects, as we have done here in West Hartford and in the area. As America's most convenient bank, our branch offices, or stores as we like to call them, are open 7 days a week, and we have 2 great stores here in West Hartford, both at Bishop's Corner and Sedgwick Plaza. I'm joined today by Mark Milligan from our commercial banking group, Casey Gaffney from our Sedgwick Plaza office, and Terry Urquhart from our Bishop's Corner office. Please stop by and say hello. We have 2 drive-up tellers as well, 2 drive-up opportunities, so we try and make it as convenient and friendly for you as possible. And with that, let me introduce our mayor. Mayor Cantor joined the town council in 2004 and served as deputy mayor from 2011 to 2016. A registered CPA, her previous work experience includes public accounting at PricewaterhouseCoopers and Cigna. A native of West Hartford and active community leader, Shari has served as a trustee of her alma mater, University of Connecticut, since 2013. She currently chairs the Connecticut Children's Medical Center Foundation Board of Directors and is a member of the Board of Directors of Hartford Stage and the West Hartford Art League. She also serves on the advisory boards of the Boys and Girls Club of Hartford and Playhouse on Park, among others. Shari received the Hartford Business Journal's Women in Business Award in 2021 and was inducted into the University of Connecticut School of Business Hall of Fame in March 2017. She was recognized as a Wonder Woman by the Malta House of Care Clinic in 2016, a Best Community Leader by Hartford Magazine in 2012, and as a West Hartford Rotarian of the Year for 2011 and 2012. Shari has been married to her husband, Michael, for 38 years. She just updated that for me today. And together they were named as one of the top 50 power couples by the Hartford Business Journal in February 2021. We celebrated that last year. They are proud parents of 4 sons, all of whom are graduates of West Hartford Public Schools, and 1 daughter-in-law, Josh and Teresa, Sam, Ben, who's here today, and Jacob. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Cantor.
We got this. All right, I have my stool. Good afternoon, everybody. I am so thrilled to be here, and I really appreciate everybody changing their schedules to accommodate the snow, which we haven't had all season, and then decides to visit us. So really, really something. I want to just this is a long list of people that actually are here today from the town, but I want to recognize Board Chair Lorna Thomas Farquharson is here. Our town clerk, Essie LeBreau. You can wait till and at the end of introductions. Leon Davidoff, the incoming town clerk, is here. We have town councilors Deb Poulin here, and Carol Blanks, and I think that's it from the town council. And then we have our chief priest and Chief Riddick both here. And we have a lot of staff that and of course, our town manager who keeps everything running. And I have a huge thank you to Renee McHugh. Renee is really handles all the communication, and she was instrumental in pulling this all together. So thank you, Trin. And now you can applaud for that. But we also have Robert McHugh here, who is our emergency management personnel assistant chief, Hugh Callahan, assistant chief Riccabon, director Helen Rubino Turco, assistant chief Tara. And I think that's all I got, but then there's a lot of staff. I'm sorry, I don't have all your information up here, but thank you. And let's just give a hand for all of our West Hartford staff that's here that works so hard. Thank you, Steve. Thank you to TD Bank, and thank you for your sponsorship. We couldn't do this without you. It really, it is so important. And thank you for the work in summarizing the commitment and the investments you've made in West Hartford, in our region. Thank you to the tremendous leadership at the Chamber of Commerce, the work that you do. There was so much coordination and work and I just want to give a special thank you to Kristen Gorski, our Economic Development Specialist, who has worked so closely with the Chamber of Commerce on their incredible, it has been so active, and you will see it soon. So I just want to really say thank you. And to the leadership of the Chamber, for Kate and for Chris, and for Chip as well, and the whole board. And thank you to my family. I am really, I couldn't do what I do without my husband saying yes so much, and without his tremendous support. Somebody said to me, oftentimes a woman's biggest hurdle is not her own is not her own skills or whatever. Sometimes it's her partner. And so thank you for that. My amazing mother, who will be 95 in July. And my son, Ben, who I'm so thrilled to have with us today. He took a little time out of his very busy schedule. So thank you, Ben. Under your plates, if you haven't finished yet, you can grab that paper. But there is something called a scavenger hunt. Remember scavenger hunts? Well, we're going to keep you engaged. I think you will be anyway, but we want you to just check off certain slides that you will see, or some the either the item or that will there will be a prize. Depending on how many prizes will depend on what that prize is. So, 3 orange items, a bunch of umbrellas, a brown square, a guy named Matt, a graduation cap, 4 images of striped patterns, and be alert right away on some things, and titles of 3 classified documents. And you know what? Classified documents are a bit of a problem in our country right now, and you have some of them right on your table. So, and you might have to share to get all the classified documents that are available. But, all right. This, I promise I won't do too many pictures. Maybe this is my only picture, probably not. But this is my 6-month-old granddaughter. She was 6 months old on Tuesday. After 4 sons, this was an incredible, incredible gift. And my 4 sons are amazing, but having a granddaughter, I must say, it tugs at a little different piece of your heart. And so I'm just so amazing. And it was a very unique day because we also had a wedding that day. My niece and nephew moved from, my soon to be niece moved from New York. They were one of the New York transplants that came out of the pandemic, and they were married on that same special day. So it was really amazing. And with life changing events like this, it brings a lot into focus of what is truly important. And I bring this to your attention. And there's my mom, my dad of the baby, and 4 generations. I bring this to your attention because, yes, I'm a little bit of an obnoxious grandma at times, and you want to share, but also to talk about the dynamics, including this trend of grandparents and families in our world, nation, and community. A month ago, there was an article in The Economist entitled "The Age of the Grandparent." The article reported that there are more grandparents around than ever before. There are 1.5 billion grandparents in the world right now, representing 20% of the global population. And that is due to uh, people living longer. And also, it's interesting, families are shrinking. So grandparents are making decision. They have less grandchildren, but there are more of them. And they are making the decision to be supportive, and oftentimes either parents to move to, where a child is, or children to move to where a parent is. And so it is a dynamic that is impacting real estate and many other things. So anecdotally, from several realtors, there are many instances where grandparents have moved to West Hartford looking to be near and closer to support their children. And adult children have moved also to be closer to home or their parents. So with parental help, another unfinished revolution can happen, the movement of women into paid work. And that it bridges over to our workforce. So there are, we are, I just wanted to, so there are 10,000 retirees a day that retire from, are retiring from the workforce. And that's 3.65 million a year. That's the state of Connecticut. So it's really important that women and all people that can work are able to work. And that's one of the things that we're thinking about and then, of course, workforce, it's being flexible and working with a workforce that is seeing different demands and different expectations than they've ever had before. In 2019, 5% of our workforce worked remotely, 2020, 60%, and now it seems to be settling about at 30%. And if you can, I mean, obviously there's a lot of jobs that don't work remotely, like you don't want heart surgery or whatever. Surely don't want your fire department and police to be remote. But 2.8 days a week is kind of the average and the new normal of the professional in the professional world. Okay, and so now we get into the specifics of West Hartford. That's just kind of framing a few things. We are doing great. West Hartford is truly amazing. So just today, I got a text from the governor who said, congratulations, and he was actually ribbing a couple of the other mayors. We were just ranked at another I don't know, release or whatever, saying that we were ranked again. It was out of a research group that named West Hartford #1 place to live in the state again. And that is not, that is, we have, so again, these are old compared to what we received today. So this morning, we just were recognized again for being the top place to live in Connecticut. And that is not, again, by chance. There's a lot of work that goes behind all of the things, the leadership in the town, the professionalism, the commitment, and the leadership and the input and the work that all of you do, the chamber, all of that, all of us together have made this happen. And that is why the economy is thriving. With commercial development, we have Corbin's Corner, West Farms, Park Road, the Center, Blueback Square, Bishop's Corner, the former Yukon campus. Our residential apartments, our investments are all types of housing throughout town, new apartments and condos in various stages of construction, attracting a variety of income levels, which is so important that people with all different jobs can live or retired can live in our community. And then a new park corridor has been designed as an opportunity zone and transit-oriented development zoning district and offers so much potential for growth. And you will see a lot happening there. Our economy is thriving. We've had grand list growth, steady grand list growth, another more than 0.5% of grand list growth. Well, real property is up 0.2%, motor vehicles up 6%. And we are, taxable property is more than $7.2 billion. That's bigger than any of our neighboring towns. And there's only a few communities that have more than that in the state of Connecticut. We have majority of growth for this year has been from home improvements such as kitchen, bath updates, and 32 new swimming pools. And so if I was you, I would make friends with one of those people. And the building permits have been in conjunction with all of those additions, and they are exploding. We had 6,868 permits. That is up 51% from last year. But the value of it is up 51%. The inspections are up about 20%, or the permits are up 20%. But we have had a backlog, and we recognize that. We are hiring a full-time building inspector and have also introduced CityView, an online portal that streamlines the permitting process. Hopefully that will improve the situation by a lot. So we're really looking forward to getting all of that online. One of the gems and the reasons why people are attracted to West Hartford is our public schools. Public schools are critical for our future, and parents recognize that and understand it. And I'm looking at Jane Owen, who moved from California, partly researching and understanding that she wanted to be in a community with stellar public schools. So locating from California for that. West Hartford Public School District is one of 18 in Connecticut with an A+ grade. Conard and Hall are 2 of 15 traditional high schools with A+ grades. 25% of our student population are non-English speakers. 77 primary languages are spoken in homes. 26% qualify for free or reduced meals. We are ranked 97th in per pupil spending out of 169 communities. And 15% of in-district K through 12 students receive special education. So we are a very diverse district with students at all different kind of learning abilities, and we serve them all. And I'm so proud of that commitment. And thank you to the Board of Education, Lorna, and all of the commitment that the staff has made to that. We also have amazing sports teams. They have broken so many records and won so many things this year. So it really record-breaking success. Both high schools have earned state titles in 2022. Hall High School boys indoor track and field team earned its 6th consecutive state title and first ever place in New England championship. They're just amazing. The other thing that's very close to my heart and my kids benefited from, West Hartford Public Schools have a remarkable music program. The music, it was honored with the Best Communities for Music Education designation from the National Association of Music Merchants Foundation for its outstanding commitment to music education. So that's really amazing. And then Chris had mentioned the West Hartford Y. This is now showcasing our community and understanding what we have to offer here and how we can get it in one spot and share with all of our community members. I know Conard actually is hosting, they have their production, I think it's Frozen. And then West Hall High School is doing their 65th Hall High Jazz Fest. But West Hartford tourism efforts, those are some things that should be on our their attractions, and they bring everybody together. So not only has Y had highlighted many of our arts from our Arts Commission, all the things that the Arts Commission has done, our outdoor dining murals, New Britain Avenue Amtrak Bridge mural, wayfinding signage, and again, the Y of West Hartford. So we're in a community that is visually artistic, invest in our people, invest in our community, and it really is a great place to highlight in Y West Hartford. And then one of the other reasons that we can be so proud, it's because of all of you and because of so many of our residents. It's the power of volunteerism. We wouldn't be the community we are without the tremendous dedication of our residents who step forward graciously and offer their time and expertise and service to others. And I know many of you have done that because I've seen it. I mentioned that because volunteerism speaks to the vitality of our community, and here are some of the ways we see volunteers at work. Yes, sir. We also, so now I'm going to get into some of the housing development opportunities, and there's many more that are in the pipeline that I really can't even talk about. But we have what is driving the explosion of housing and beyond the pandemic really did ignite a home buying frenzy. But in addition to that, it's also sort of the age. It's what's happened with millennials and Gen Z, that they became of age and started to buy homes. Everything happened later for them, and there's many reasons for that. And some of it's student debt, some of it's just, their professions, their traveling, whatever those things are. So there's a number of reasons, but West Hartford's housing market is hot. It's one of the hottest in the country. 2022 sales were down 13.6%, and I know there are realtors in the house, but demand for houses continues to outpace supply. I went to an open house. My husband and I actually accompanied our oldest son, who is looking to come back to town. He lives in the Boston area, which is a really, really expensive area to live. And here, West Hartford is about a third of what it is in Brookline, and just in Newton and some of the communities around. And we went to this open house, and it was near West Hartford Center, so we knew it was going to be pretty busy, but it looked like a tag sale. There were so many people lined up on the corner, and they had to kind of keep people moving through and out so you could get in. It was really, really something. So our median home price with supply outpacing demand is $400,000, up from $370,000 a year before. Spring, hopefully, will bring less snow down and more houses on the market. But again, our millennials and Gen Z are entering the market, and that is also pushing up the need to be in supply, and probably to be near grandparents, maybe for some extra support. And all of our other buildings have high occupancy and low vacancies. This is an indicator that West Hartford's economy is really strong. Vacancy rates of office, multifamily, industrial, and retail some are the lowest they've been in decades. 7.4% for office, multifamily 4.2%, industrial 2.1%, and retail 6.6%, which is not happening in other communities around the country. So, multifamily rental opportunities, you've heard a lot about this. This is something that we have seen tremendous interest in, not only from young people that are looking to move to areas for a job or, again, to maybe be closer to family, but it's empty nesters, it's senior citizens, and it's young families as well. The low maintenance and high level of amenities are really an attraction for many. So some of these new multifamily, we're going to take you on a little bit of a tour. We have 920, 924 Farmington Avenue, which is mixed income, mixed use, mixed family, 5-story building, 48 apartments, 10,000 square feet of office and rental space on the ground level. And this is walking distance to West Hartford Center, Blueback Square, and right on the Trout Brook Trail. And then 27 to 43 LaSalle Road and 12 Arapahoe Road. This is a $50 million investment, 83 units, 25 apartment units with 4 units at affordable housing rates, 58 condominiums, and 3,500 square feet commercial space on the ground level. And then residents of Berkshire Road, I don't know if you've driven by there, but they are they're actually already having occupancy numbers rise. So 26 luxury apartments with 2 designated as affordable housing. That's right across from Wolcott Park. And then we have One Park Road, which is our largest development that we've had in one single development. 296 total units, 10 affordable units, and historic preservation. It's an old chapel. It was the Sisters of St. Joseph, and it's I think the chapel's 120 years old. And it's approximately $66 million investment. And that will really liven up the Park Road, corridor, and not only West Hartford, but also into Hartford. This is also a large development, 172 units. This is 950 Trebrick, where the Children's Museum was. And I think there was an article in the paper this morning that talked about the sale of that property at $10 million, well, kind of leading a new benchmark. So 172 units, 7 designated as affordable, and this property will no longer be considered tax exempt, so it will add $800,000 in new tax revenue, just to give you a ballpark on that, which is really important. And you've heard that there's a few affordable units here, a few affordable units there. Those are usually 80% of area median income, which is about, it lands about, Kristen, is this right, about $80,000 is where that would be. So a deeper affordable, it takes a little bit more intention, a little bit more of a commitment. So the town has put aside $6 million from our ARPA funds for a housing development program for grants or loans with a limit of $3 million for any individual application, to eligible housing development or rehabilitation projects that increase the supply of affordable housing units in West Hartford. This program also is consistent with our plan of conservation and development that was adopted 2020 to 2030. So a couple of developments that I will talk about. One really exciting development, and it's still in the works, but all the pieces are being put together now. And again, I want to thank Kristen and the town manager for their work on this. This is located. This is when I became mayor. This was one of my goals, was to transform that property into housing and affordable at affordable rates. So this is where the West Hartford Inn is at 900 Farmington Avenue, a really critical and strategic location. 44 total units, 80% of it will be affordable housing, and 20% would be market rate, and that's sort of the state guidelines. They prefer to have a portion of market rates as well. This property just received $1 million brownfield grant, remediation grant to clean up the property, and that was a joint application with the town. And then Fellowship Housing. Fellowship Housing has been in existence for a very long time. It's right in Bishop's Corner, and my brothers actually used to have that as their paper route. So Fellowship Housing will be 1/3 larger when it's complete. Most of the campus was constructed again in the 70s, and actually people were walking, the laundry facilities are in a central area, so walking through the cold, these are mostly seniors, either they're seniors or people with disabilities, and they were, had to walk outside and into the laundry, it was really, really difficult. So it's going to be phased over time, so the people are not going to be, they'll be temporarily displaced, but not permanently displaced. This was a very, very thoughtful process that's going to be used. And I want to just take a moment to thank my colleague Leon Davidoff for his leadership on the board there. So really important. And when we also, on New Park, we have 616 New Park and 540 New Park, which are our housing authority projects that are really doing very well, and we're so grateful for the partnership with our housing authority, who also provide vouchers and will be monitoring many of the affordable housing units that we highlighted. The future of the former Yukon site, I'm not going to say anything about it because we're going to be voting on it, so you can read about it in the paper or call Rick. All right. I know all you're going to ask about it, but I can't say. Uh, Transportation and commercial centers. So finding the right balance, and Kristen spoke actually at the New England Parking Conference this morning, and I actually gave a welcome. The right balance between combining commercial centers and residential life for a thriving community, for cars and people, is really complicated. But West Hartford's been really, really good at that. And it's one of the reasons why we thrive. We have many commercial centers, and people love being able to walk to get a coffee, buy their groceries, maybe go out to dinner. So we have been building on that, right? Residential living brings foot traffic to businesses, and a variety of businesses near residential homes increase the quality of life. So the transit-oriented development area, we actually adopted a resolution that, an ordinance actually, that will allow more density in that transit-oriented development. And this is something the state's been working on as well. We have two transit stations, two fast track stations there. And also the hope is, and I will put it out there, I've been rooting for this for a long time, we're in a planning portion of the Hartford Rail Station for West Hartford, and we really hope that that can be progressed. So transit-oriented development allows for a higher density and supports transit. But we also, so this is the 540 that I mentioned, that is not only affordable, but it's near transit that will allow people to possibly not have a car or share a car, even because that's a huge expense for many families. So this is, this supports our workforce that we want to make sure that we have the ability to live here. And so this project has 52 units. It will be mixed use and mixed income. And 80% of the housing units will be affordable and 20% market. Elmwood Lofts, which is where the Puritan site and now Ashley Furniture, they also received $1 million brownfield remediation grant, again, through the town's assistance. And they're only 400 feet from the fast track station. And will maintain the ground floor as commercial and retail space, and 150 units of housing with 15% will be also dedicated to affordable housing. And then the new park, all down that corridor, the new Park Complete Streets project has a $3.7 million investment from grants that we received from the state. And they will be a road diet, but also accommodate bike lanes and make it more like a boulevard with a little, maybe a safer place to ride, but also a more attractive place. And this is also signals a lot of investment, not only from the state and the town, but businesses to invest in that area. So there's huge potential happening there. Okay. Now, sustainability. We know that how important this is, not only for transportation and to have, you know, whether it's fast track or train, but we are, as a town, committed to sustainability. And it really factors into everyday decision making. It kind of has to be like a safety, kind of, or the way we look at road safety and all of those things. So sustainability is something that we have been boldly supporting. And we participated in a voluntary certification program called Sustainable CT that recognizes inclusive, thriving, and resilient Connecticut municipalities. It's not just about alternative energy, or it's also about having a variety of places to live, making sure it's walkable. All of those other kinds of things are things that Sustainable Connecticut appreciates and understands. The highest, and the silver is the highest level that's available now. They are actually opening a gold level, which we will pursue also. But we are only one of 5 towns in the state of Connecticut that were recognized as a climate leader, and we actually hosted those awards at the town hall, and it was really something to be proud of, because this is our future. So really important. And to carry on a little further from sustainability, and I know John, I don't think John Phillips is here because I think he's at the parking conference, but we in Connecticut are experiencing, as many of you have seen, a trash disposal capacity crisis. The Northeast, we don't have places to put our trash, so waste to energy facilities have dropped. They're no longer, either their end of their useful lives, not getting approved for improvements. So our trash is trucked out of state. 330,000 tons of trash is shipped out of state, shipped out of state last year alone. And because of the rapidly declining waste disposal capacity, the cost to dispose of trash has gone up, and we expect it to go up about a third over the next 5 years. And to be honest, it's a big piece of our budget that we spend on trash and removing trash. And we need to bend that curve, because otherwise we're going to have to take either increase taxes or take away from other places in our budget to make that work, or have it be a subscription service and kind of hand it over to our residents to have. And that's really not the best use of the money either, because it's much better if the town were to manage it. But one of the things that we are currently doing is, well, it's a two-pronged project that will be a food scrap project and a pay-as-you-throw pilot. So food scraps are about 23% of our trash, and I think in our weekly trash it's even more than that. I feel like it's very heavy. And West Hartford's one of 15 municipalities that won a Connecticut DEEP grant intended to reduce waste by combining these two programs. So trash is a utility, and John has been talking about this for a long time. You know, utility is a fixed resource that you need to purchase, and if you use less, like my mother could probably throw out, she could roll out of her bag probably twice a year with the trash that she accumulates. It's so little. And yet my son has enormous amounts of trash with baby diapers or other things that families have. So should that be something that we pay for? Should we also plan on how we purchase things and how we use things? And that's part of our thinking that we kind of need to change. It was like when my dad was chasing us around and shutting off all the light switches as we, in our house when we had electricity. It's kind of that same thinking of, all right, should I buy that, or should I throw that away, or should I reuse it in some way? So 690 residents in the pilot program were asked to participate in a 9-month program that will begin in May 2023. So Blue Earth Compost will coordinate the pilot food scrap, and Paynes will do the pay-as-you-throw program. And there will be different colored bags, and we'll get a lot of good feedback, and we'll hopefully be able to improve a program that hopefully we will be able to launch town-wide. Our students are ahead of us. They're doing food waste and food scrap collection, and they are so proud of doing what they do. 8 elementary schools participate in the school cafeteria food scrap collection, and I want to thank Catherine Bruns for her work on this. The schools have increased their volume of food waste by tenfold in 1 year. The total weight in food scraps went from 1.37 tons to 10.4 tons in fall 2022. That's a tremendous amount of not only this is going to a better bio area, but otherwise we would be paying to get rid of that trash. The next goal in reducing waste will be to switch from disposable trays to reusable ones. So the success comes from the enthusiasm of our teachers and our administrators, and most of all our students. So organics to biofuels, if you didn't participate in the pumpkin program, those pumpkins, we took 7.5 tons of pumpkins create organic waste that we ran that program through October 31st through November 20th. 3 times more waste that was diverted in the previous year. So this is something that was really successful. It was sent to Quantum Biopower in Southington and turned into valuable compost and biofuel. Oh, that was great. I think Rick and I received an email yesterday from a landscaper. We actually are going through a bit of a change in our public works department. We purchased a couple of parcels of land, very strategic parcels of land that are contiguous to our Brixton Street facility. And it will allow us to relocate our animal shelter, relocate our fire department training site to be able to have a real transfer station in West Hartford, so people can sort their trash and get rid of it in a way that is much, much greener than the way we do it now. So that is something to look forward to, and we're going to be rolling that out in the very near future. But it's the right thing to do for sure. And now I will go through a few capital projects. that we are doing now. So we always are investing in our community. Every year we do about 15 to 18 million dollars of road improvements and park improvements, and so this is some of the improvements that we have going on now. New park complete streets improvement, the Duffy Elementary School air quality project, animal shelter replacement, all of those things that you see up there. We also have capital improvements in our town center, public works facility, public safety equipment and buildings, vehicle replacements, and the hope of a new community center. And I'd like to thank, I think Tecton is here, who was our consultant on our community center, getting a lot of public outreach and coming up with some really exciting designs that are truly cutting edge with shared spaces, so every space is used in the best way possible. So the Elmwood Community and Culture Center project, we received a $3 million grant to purchase the St. Bridget School, which no longer existed. Carol's kids went there and she had to say goodbye to that school, but in a new vision. So we purchased that, and this is a strategic property because it's located so close to the Trout Brook Trail, but also abuts Beachland Park, our largest town park. And so the indoor and outdoor programming capacity and opportunity is really remarkable. So there's a lot more to come on that. I mentioned the Trout Brook Trail, which is really a linear park, but also a protected bike lane and pedestrian walkway, and an area too that promotes wildlife, and we'll have pollinator gardens and so much along it. It's kind of like our High Line, right? And there's 3 remaining sections of Trout Brook Trail that we hope to complete by the end of 2024. This will be a contiguous 3.5 miles from one end of town to the other. And we're hoping that will be the backbone of, and then there will be other trails that will go off of that. So really, really excited about seeing this to fruition. And then there was outreach done and a lot of feedback from the public on our West Hartford Center Infrastructure Master Plan. You all know how successful our outdoor dining was, and we were just talking about that actually at the New England Parking Conference too. We knew our restaurants were in trouble in the pandemic. We had to get them spaced fast because the only way people could eat out safely was to go outside. And we had such a partnership of multiple areas in town that came together to say, we can do this quickly. Jersey barriers, engineering, everybody came together. We won a Tactile Urbanism Award for the work that we did to make sure that our restaurants had that capacity to move out in the street. The governor was critical in making sure that we could do that without the red tape that would have gone to allowing municipalities across Connecticut. But we seized on it, and we did it in a way that really became a draw for I called our restaurants gardens of eating, because each restaurant designed their own special space, whether it was palm trees or flowers or other artwork that they did. So really, really amazing. But now we're off the pandemic. The outdoor capacity is needed, but maybe not quite to the same extent in the street. But we want them to be able to have outdoor dining all year round. If you have 60-degree winter days, maybe it looks like it might be happening, and so maybe people can eat outside. So doubling the size of the sidewalk and configuring the parking and allowing those restaurants to have that outdoor capacity space and still have people to be able to walk on the sidewalks is really what this goal is. And so you're going to be hearing and seeing a lot more on that as well. And we're really proud, and we think it will continue to be a destination and look really, really professional and wonderful. So we also are looking at other ways to keep our community safe. I know that many of you heard about a really tragic week we had of some fatalities, pedestrian car and also car fatalities. We take this very, very seriously. I mean, and our first responders responding on a Christmas morning to a fatal 3-person fatal car accident, it changes you forever. So thank you to all of our first responders that face some of these incidents. We can give them a hand. Yeah. But it's really, really important that we pay attention to that. And so, Renee, if we don't mind, can we go to Vision Zero next? So we, we know that people drive too fast. And there are areas, in fact, in the police chief's report yesterday morning in our public safety committee, and I sent Rick a follow-up text on it. There were two cars that were, one I think was ticketed at going 83 miles an hour on Albany Avenue, and another about 90 miles an hour on over 90. And I mean, that is so far out of safety. But going 50 miles an hour on a road that should be 35 or 40 is also is unsafe. And I know my own son, who not Ben, but my second son Sam was on a. I remember this. I won't embarrass you too much, Ben. No, was on a SpongeBob team. They were doing a scavenger hunt in high school, and he was on the SpongeBob team. And so Michael, did I embarrass you? All right, and he was wearing SpongeBob pajamas, and that did not fit him. And he was stopped by a police officer going too fast on North Main Street. And he said, Mom, honest, I wasn't. I was going the speed of the traffic. He was clocked at 50 miles an hour, and that was the speed of the traffic on North Main Street. And we have done the road diet, and the speed of the traffic has slowed, but it hasn't really slowed how it takes from you to get from one place to another. And that's a street redesign that was all really factored into keeping everybody safe, people in cars safe, but also pedestrians that walk on the sidewalk and bicyclists that need to use the road as well. And so we adopted what's called Vision Zero, which is Vision Zero. It identifies and says that we're committed to no deaths, no traffic-related deaths, and no major injuries from traffic-related incidents within a certain period of time. For the town, we've committed to 2030. So Rick really jumped on it strategically. We have a great task force that's really dedicated to changing the way we address safety on our roads, and that is speed, that is making sure people are alert when they're crossing the street at the right place, and making sure that we have speed humps in certain strategic areas that don't hurt fire trucks, but really thinking strategically about how we can really make a difference and keep people safe and all users of our streets. So then we'll go to sorry, I went a little out of order. I do that. We can do the wayfinding project. So wayfinding is something that people have recognized as a really important way to navigate around a town. We don't want people driving around our town in circles looking for something, right? We want them to be able to get to a designated place or desired place quickly. So this will identify, but also advertise what we have in town. It will be connected, it will be thoughtful, intentional, and we're really excited about that as well. So this will highlight museums, art galleries, parks, hiking trails, landmarks, historic events, as well as, most importantly, and well, very importantly, our business districts for all of you. All right, and now we'll go to some technology improvements that we've been working on. Free public access for wireless for all of our parks and pools, making sure that you can sign on to Wi-Fi and you will not need to use your cell services. We also have government kiosks that will be, residents will conduct business with the municipal offices. So when business is closed, you can still conduct your business and it won't be. And researching the use of charging bars for the parking garages as a convenient way to charge your mobile device quickly. Won't that be great? Rather than my husband just borrowed my little pink charger, you could have charged your your phone. All right. And now to our public safety. The pillars of West Hartford, we have, well, obviously our public safety is one of the most important pillars, and we are constantly looking at ways to do things better, and I want to thank Bob McHugh for always bringing great ideas to that. But I will start with our fire department. We are increasing our annual fire inspections because that's really, really important, and we've got a lot of construction activity. We know that, so we know we need to increase that capacity. We've increased community engagement and inclusiveness through youth programs, community CPR programs, and I can't tell you how important 2 lives have been saved. I think, well, definitely the CPR programs make our community safer. If you have a sudden cardiac arrest, you have minutes before there's permanent damage. And that is critical to the way our fire department performs. We are a heart-safe community, and that is not just a sign saying we're heart-safe. That is really meaning that we will save your life if you have a heart event. And CPR training is a really important piece of that heart safety program. So we also updated the town's local emergency operation plan, convert key action step to a mobile, user-friendly electronic format, and increasing our community preparedness drills through exercising plans and drills such as a host community program. And we have a CERT program, which is a community emergency responsive team. And those are all volunteers that whether they are handing out masks or helping in vaccines or working with a family that has been displaced because of a fire. All of those things make our community better and stronger, and Bob's been instrumental in that. So thank you. We can. And I am tremendously proud of our police department and the work that they have done to be really a leader in community policing, and they're just the most professional, the most professional police force I think that I have ever seen. And so I'm so grateful. It starts at the top. So thank you, Chief Riddick, for your leadership. And I will say thank you, Chief Priest, also for your incredible leadership. I didn't mean to. But we were one of the first municipalities to develop and implement a civilian police review board following passage of the Police Accountability Bill. And our CPRB reviewed 5 complaints against personnel, sustaining all findings of charges and violations. So this is a very diverse group of volunteers. We received 90 applications and for our 7 spots and 3 alternates for that board. That's a tremendous interest from our community. We picked a really diverse group of residents for that board, and they are showing or demonstrating the fact that they're asking tough questions and really highlighting how professional our police department is. So the police department also acquired a town social worker in September 2021. And this model, this hybrid model, is really really makes a difference, and I think is an example into how things could be better managed, certain situations. So during 2022, the social worker handled a total of 253 cases. We also have an embedded advocate from Interval House on domestic violence cases as well, which is really important. So we also are doing a lot in the crime category. We've really upped our own camera programs. We can't use cameras for speed enforcement and certain things. Those are state. But we personally have done a lot of work that has made a difference because our officers can't be everywhere. So significantly increasing crime detection and apprehending through real-time license plate readers. They have been instrumental in locating missing and wanted persons. I mean, when you think of, oh, they're chasing criminals. No, actually, a lot of this has been recovering missing or wanted people for something. So that's really important. There's a project underway to identify equipped high-activity areas with surveillance monitoring equipment. The project would ultimately culminate with the development of a West Hartford Intelligence Center, which would feed into certain access accesses. So that could be a really good way to monitor efficiently. So our library is amazing. I hope you're looking for items, because if you aren't, you're not going to win this category. Our library is amazing and is also constantly engaging and doing remarkable things. This year we launched a puzzle exchange where people can drop off or pick up puzzles to work on home, and they are a great stress breaker for some, but I think they're stress inducing, so I don't do the puzzle thing. Definitely not patient enough for it. Later this spring, they plan to launch a video game collection with Nintendo Switch-like consoles, and they're hosting the first Dungeon and Dragon convention. Library also increased programming with its new digital makerspace known as Studio 20 South, and a beginner's guide to podcasting workshop, which is really cool, and virtual reality equipment, and also a craft area as well. Our leisure services department is exploding. I think anytime there's a enrollment, they fill up so quickly because things are run so well. Pickleball is, as you know, and if you haven't seen, what's it called, Shrinking, that show Shrinking? So yeah, they all talk about pickleball. It's the fastest growing sport in America. In the last 4 years, the town has constructed 12 dedicated pickleball courts in 2 locations, at Wolcott Park and at Buena Vista Recreation Complex. In the coming year, we'll see more park improvements that incorporate sustainability. We also had planted 2,000 tree seedlings and pollinator gardens in our parks. And Westmore Park is a great opportunity and educational resource to plant a tree and in the right place and learn about why pollinator gardens are so important for our community and our environment. And we also, I started by talking about our schools and the makeup, and our community is a diverse community. We're not really like another community in Connecticut. And one of the reasons that I am so proud that we support people in need and our hearts are big. West Hartford is a very generous community. And our social services department pulls all of those things together. So there's a lot of people that are affected by food insecurity, and Jason Jacobowski is here, and I want you to give Jason a hand. He's the director of Connecticut Food Share. Jason has been fighting this fight and serving the needs of people as they have increased during the pandemic, after the pandemic, and then now with rising inflation. It is so important to have that food insecurity available for people, food available for people that are insecure. The food pantry provided nearly 10,000 bags of food to 783 households. Over the past 5 years, the amount of food bags distributed from Town Hall Pantry has risen by 135%. The need is there, and so occasionally we'll do, a kind of a shout out. Oh, we need this or this or this. We're always in need, and you can always drop food off at Town Hall. But if you have a large drop off, say your business wants to coordinate something, you can call and get a volunteer to help you bring that food in. So really, really appreciate that. Rotary did that. They did a program with Costco. It was great. But there's always a need. And peanut butter, Mom, my mother eats peanut butter every day. I think that's the key to long life. But they need peanut butter always. So I'm just saying. Smooth or crunchy, I think. Anyway, town clerk. So you heard that Essie LeBreau is retiring. Essie is an incredible town clerk, and Leon, as wonderful as you are going to be, we've all kind of joked, nobody's going to fill Essie's shoes. She's a 6.5 and wears high heel shoes, and oftentimes in very bright colors. And she is stylish and filled with grace. But more importantly, she is so professional, and she has the respect of all of her peers in Connecticut. Throughout Connecticut, she earned Town Clerk of the Year by 168 town clerks in Connecticut in 2017, and they still come to her all the time for advice. And we are so grateful for her service to the town of West Hartford. This is her last State of the Town as town clerk. I hope she comes back as just as a citizen. But I please give Essie a round of applause. And Leon Davidoff, who has been on the town council for 15 years and previously TPZ and knows every in and out, will be stepping into Essie's, not her shoes, but her place. And we will support him in this transition, but we have the utmost confidence that he will handle this a very important job with the utmost professionalism. And so, Essie, one of the things that's going to really be facing that office is early voting. So we're going to, that's something that's evolving in the state legislature right now, and that's going to be an interesting addition, an important addition to voting access for our community. So And then you all know how committed we all are to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And you can't just say, oh, yeah, we like that idea. It's a great idea. There is an intentional commitment you need to make to make progress. And it's not something that, you do it for a week and then and then you let it go. This is something that, again, the town has, on the school side, we made a lot of progress. On the town side, there were things being done, really positive things, but there wasn't the same investment in resources. And so Dr. Rosina Haskins, who had been on the school diversity side, she has become our office. She is the director of our diversity, equity, inclusion, or diversity advancement, and we have hired Adrian Billings-Smith to to work under Rosina, and she supports initiatives that advance the town's commitment. And this so doesn't explain what she does, because she's bigger than life and she's amazing. So I look at, I'm like, words can't describe it. She fosters a welcoming, respectful, and inclusive environment for all staff, residents, clients, patrons of the town of West Hartford. When I'm in a meeting with Adrian, and everybody's kind of, listening to something, she will ask a question that is looking at something in a different way that nobody else has presented. And it's like, oh my gosh, why didn't I think of that? But it's just this angle and this perspective that is so important to making real progress. So I really want to thank Adrienne for her work, and of course Rosina Haskins for her complete commitment across the board to making our town a better place for everyone. Some of the initiatives are I Speak Sign, which provides assistance to non-English speakers, providing diversity, equity, inclusion training, employees, boards and commissions. We've been working on that. Organizing special events that encourage cultural awareness and educational opportunities for all. Now we're approaching kind of the end, but there's a few new ordinances that we adopted that are actually coming to fruition, like things are happening with them. One is the recreational cannabis ordinance. We have our first booter, our first establishment that will begin selling a wide range of cannabis products and merchandise this spring at 1037 Boulevard, a building that was previously held by Subway Dunkin' Donuts. That's right on the Hartford line. West Hartford collects a 3% tax on all revenues. That's really a new thing for Connecticut, to allow towns to collect any tax that's not property tax. So, and these funds are earmarked for education, job training, mental health, addiction services, or community engagement. And there are more things, but it's sort of, that's the vein of what they do. And every municipality is handling things a little different. Simsbury actually has a cultivation, but they're not going to be selling. And some towns have just said, we're just going to do retail, we're not going to do cultivation. Some towns have said we're not doing anything. I know this is a state law. This was legalized by our state legislature, and I do know there are concerns on many levels. Like anything, we really have to be careful of safety for everybody, whether that's operating a vehicle under the influence or addiction. So we really, everybody, we're all very committed to the educational component. It's really, really important. One of the other things we adopted was experiential retail. So this was at our January 10th, 2023, and I might have mentioned it last year, but this would be in the Blueback Square area largely, where businesses could stay open till 1 a.m. These are large businesses. They're 15,000 square feet. They can have adult areas, or they can allow use of we're hoping that this will open the door for, again, maybe some really fun activities for our residents. And then we talked about the outdoor dining into the street. We need to codify that, because the governor, they're expiring their allowance of moving out in the street. So we need to make that happen. So we will be having a public hearing on April 11th to have a statutory allowance for outdoor dining. So if anybody wants to come and speak to that, feel free. So I want to thank you all for supporting each other and for being an amazing community, and for doing so. I know that happiness is a, we talk about happiness and especially with the pandemic, I think people are understanding the anxiety, mental health in a much better way. But finding joy is a really an intentional thing that people in really hard situations can still find joy by looking for those shreds of light and good things that happen. And so it's easy to find joy in this little bundle, right? It's so wonderful. But it's finding joy in the days that they're sick or there are those challenges. And I just urge all of you, and I hope all of you can look at a difficult day and find some shred of joy that gives you this inner peace, inner love, inner happiness that you can carry forward and support and also will allow you to be, I think, better managers, better workers, and better people. So I love you all, and I thank you all, and I will take any questions. Thank you. All right, scavenger hunt. So if you guys did any, I don't know if anybody did them, but you can actually, I'll take questions, but if anybody has a scavenger hunt, that Renee will take their sheet if you wanna. You won't be able to do it now if you didn't do it while the project was going on. And, the classified documents, if you haven't looked at them, please do. My husband thought of some of them. So, what? Sure, show the answers. But any questions for me besides UConn? You can ask Rick, but don't ask me. Anybody? Nobody? Really? Okay. Mr. Diodalo, my neighbor.
I have a comment. I just want to say the transitory things you've got on property on North Main Street, much better. Police, the fire, and all down there without any trouble. The postman, the FedEx guys, and traffic is definitely still down. So I'd like to just thank you. I think the transit ideas are right on there.
Okay. So Mark Diodalo, a new board member of the Housing Authority, right? Which said, if you couldn't hear, he said that the North Main Street road changes are much better, and the traffic flows, the public safety vehicles, everything is flowing so much better, and that's a model for other streets. I think that could work. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Any other questions, comments? I hope you learned a little something. I hope it was enlightening. I hope you surely enjoyed your lunch, because Louis Lista and Diana, thank you for the Pond House. The food's delicious, and thank you so much. All right.